Ziora was not a girl of silk. Ziora was a girl of ash. Her mother had been taken by the coughing sickness when the moon was thin, and her father, may the ancestors guide his wandering soul, had followed a spirit into the great forest and never returned. Ziora was alone. She lived in a hut that leaned to the left, held up by nothing but the grace of the wind and a few stubborn termites. Every morning, Ziora would walk to the market square of the neighboring town, Ynot. Ynot was a place of plenty. The women there had hips that swayed like palm fronds in a storm, and the men had voices that boomed like the drums of Igwe. But Ziora stood by the gate. She held a broken calabash. "A cowrie for the hungry," she would say. "A scrap of yam for the orphan," she would whisper. But the people of Ynot, their hearts were wrapped in leopard skin, tough and cold. They looked through Ziora as if she were made of air. They stepped over her shadow as if it were a puddle of stagnant water. Are you listening? Repetition is the salt of the story. They stepped over her. They spat near her. They forgot her. Now, in this same town of Ynot, there lived a man named Kobi. Kobi was not a beggar. Kobi was the master of the ivory gates. He was a man who measured his wealth in the number of cattle that lowed in his compound. He was handsome, yes, tall like a mahogany tree, with skin the color of dark honey. Kobi was to marry Adalgo. Adalgo. Her name means daughter of an eagle, but her heart was the heart of a vulture. She loved the shine of Kobi's gold, but she did not love the man who worked for it. On the day of the New Yam Festival, beneath the great Udala tree, Kobi knelt. He held a ring carved from the tusk of a rogue elephant, polished until it caught the sun and blinded the jealous. "Adalgo," Kobi said, his voice trembling like a leaf, "will you be the hearth in my home? Will you be the mother of my sons?" The village held its breath. The crickets stopped chirping. The wind held its tongue. Adalgo looked at the ring. She looked at Kobi. Then she looked at his hands, hands that were stained with the oil of hard work, for Kobi had been preparing the festival feast for 3 days without sleep. "You come to me smelling of wood smoke and sweat," Adalgo laughed. It was a sound like breaking glass. "You think a daughter of my lineage will marry a man who works like a slave even on his engagement day? I want a king, Kobi, not a laborer." She turned. Chew! She threw the ring into the dust. The crowd gasped. A man's pride is his life. When you kill it in public, you have buried him while he still breathes. Kobi stood there. The sun was hot, but he felt cold. He looked at the dust. He looked at the people whispering. He felt the shame rising like bile in his throat. He turned to run, to hide his face in the shadows of the forest, but a hand, a small, thin, dusty hand reached out. It was Ziora. She was sitting by the Udala tree, her broken calabash empty. She had seen it all. She picked up the ivory ring from the dirt. It looked too bright against her grey, ash-stained skin. "Take it," she whispered. Kobi looked at her. He saw a beggar. He saw a girl who smelled of wood ash and hunger. "Keep it," Kobi hissed, his heart breaking. "Sell it. Eat for a year. I do not care. My life is over." "No," Ziora said. Her voice was small, but it had the weight of a stone. "A man who gives his heart does not lose his life. He only loses a heavy burden. This ring is not food. It is a promise you made to yourself. Do not let the dust have it." Kobi paused. He looked into Ziora's eyes. For the first time in years, someone was looking at him, not at his cows, not at his gold, but at him. "Why do you care?" Kobi asked. "You who have nothing." "I have hunger, and hunger teaches you the value of what is real. Come, you are hurting. Let us walk away from these people whose eyes are full of scales." "Is the fire still burning? Listen." Kobi took Ziora to the edge of the river. He bought her a wrap of moi moi and a gourd of cool water. "Eat," he said. Ziora ate as if it were her last meal on earth. She did not eat with greed. She ate with reverence. "You are a good man," she said, wiping her mouth with the back of her hand. "I am a fool," Kobi replied. "I offered my life to a woman who thinks I am a slave." "A servant to his work is a master of his destiny," Ziora said. Kobi laughed. It was a dry, hollow sound. "You speak like a grandmother, little bird. What do you know of destiny?" I know that I slept in the rain last night, and today I am sitting with the master of the ivory gates. Is that not destiny? Kobe looked at her, really looked at her. Underneath the dirt, her face was shaped like a heart. Her eyes were clear like the water of a hidden spring. I want to help you, Kobe said suddenly. I cannot fix my own heart, but I can fix your life. Help me? Ziora tilted her head. I have a house. I have clothes that belong to my sisters who have married and moved to the coast. I have a bath of heated oils. Tonight, there is a dance at the chief's palace. Adalgo will be there with Obinna, the merchant who boasts of his silks. I want her to see that Kobe does not mourn for a vulture. Ziora looked at her tattered rags. She looked at her broken nails. You want to dress a crow to look like a hawk? No, Kobe said softly. I want to show the world that a diamond can be found in the mud. Wait, do you hear that? That is the sound of a choice being made. And every choice has a shadow. Kobe took Ziora to his compound. He called his old aunt, Neka, to scrub the girl. They scrubbed until the grey ash disappeared and the deep, rich bronze of her skin shone like polished copper. They oiled her hair with shea butter and braided it with silver threads. They dressed her in a cloth of indigo and gold, a cloth so fine it felt like a second skin. When Ziora stepped out, Kobe's heart stopped. She was not a beggar. She was a goddess of the earth. Ziora, Kobe whispered. I feel like I am wearing someone else's life, she said, her voice trembling. No, Kobe said, you are wearing the life you are meant for. They went to the palace. The drums were beating, gudung, gudung, gudung. The dancers were leaping. The palm wine was flowing. Adalgo was there, draped in heavy beads, laughing loudly so everyone would know she was happy. Beside her stood Obinna, puffing on a pipe, looking down his nose at the villagers. Then Kobe entered, and beside him walked a woman no one recognized. A woman who moved like the moon across the sky, silent, bright, and impossible to ignore. The music faltered. The chief paused with his cup halfway to his lips. Who is she? The women whispered. Is she a princess from the Benin kingdom? The men wondered.
Adalgo's face turned the color of an overripe plum. She saw Kobe, her Kobe, looking at this stranger with the fire in his eyes she had never seen. She walked over, her beads clattering like angry teeth. Kobe, she barked. Who is this creature? Kobe smiled. It was a calm smile. This is Ziora, a woman who knows the value of a ring in the dust. Adalgo squinted. She looked closer. She saw a small scar on Ziora's chin, a scar from a fall in the market years ago. Ziora? Adalgo screamed. The beggar? The girl with the broken calabash? Kobe, you have brought a scavenger to the chief's table. Look at her. She is wearing the indigo cloth of your ancestors. It is a sacrilege. The crowd went silent. The insult hung in the air like smoke. Obinna stepped forward, laughing. Is this true, Kobe? You are so desperate for a woman that you pick one from the gutter. How much did you pay her to wash her face? 10 cowries? Ziora felt the old coldness returning. She felt the weight of the indigo cloth becoming heavy, like stones. She looked at the exit. She wanted to run back to her leaning hut where the termites were her only judges. But Kobe did not let go of her hand. She did not cost me cowries, Kobe said, his voice echoing in the hall. She cost me my pride, and it was a price I was happy to pay. Enough, the chief shouted. This is a festival of peace. But Adalgo was not finished. She reached out and grabbed Ziora's arm, pulling the sleeve of the indigo cloth. Give it back. This cloth is for women of virtue, not for those who beg for scraps. Cling! In the struggle, a small object fell from Ziora's waistcloth. It was the ivory ring. It rolled across the floor and stopped at the chief's feet. My ring, Adalgo gasped. She reached for it. I knew you still wanted me to have it, Kobe. You were just testing me. Do not touch it, Kobe said. The room was so quiet you could hear the flame dancing on the torches. That ring was cast away. It became the property of the earth, and the earth gave it to Ziora. Obinna laughed. Are you serious? You would choose this nothing over Adalgo? Kobe, if you marry this girl, you will be the laughingstock of the 7 villages. Your business will wither. No one will trade with a man who shares his bed with the dust. Kobe looked at Ziora. He saw the tears in her eyes. He saw her fear. Then he looked at Adalgo, beautiful, sharp, and empty. He He looked at his wealth, his reputation, his pride. He had to choose. If he stayed with Ziara, he lost his standing in Elooma. He would be cast out from the merchant's circle. He would become a man of the shadows. If he took Hidalgo back, he would be the master of the gates again. But he would be a master with a hollow chest. "I choose the dust," Kobe said. Silence. Even the trees outside seemed to lean in to hear. "You are a fool," Obina spat. "A fool who is finally awake," Kobe replied. He took Ziara's hand and they walked out of the palace. They walked past the fires, past the drums, past the whispering mouths. They walked until the lights of Elooma were small like fireflies in the distance. They reached the outskirts of Umweze, near Ziara's leaning hut. "Why did you do it?" Ziara asked. Her voice was thick with tears. "You have lost everything. Your name, your friends, your gold, all for a girl who has nothing but a broken calabash." Kobe stopped. He took the ivory ring, and right there in the dark, under the watchful eyes of the ancestors, he slipped it on Ziara's finger. "I did not lose everything," he said. "I lost a mask, and I found a mirror." But wait, is that the end? The storyteller leans back, eyes twinkling. The next morning, Kobe went to his barns. He expected them to be empty, for he believed the chief would have seized his property for the insult. But when he opened the doors, he did not find yam. He did not find cattle. He found that his barns were filled with water. Clear, sweet, endless water. In a land that was dry, in a village that was dying of thirst, Kobe had been given a spring that would never run dry. The spirits of the earth had seen the man who valued the dust more than the gold, and they had rewarded him with the one thing gold could not buy in a desert. And what of Hidalgo? She married Obina, the man of silks, but on their wedding nights, all his silks turned to dry grass, all his gold turned to lead. For wealth that is built on the mocking of the poor is like a house built on a salt flat. It looks solid until the first rain. Ziara and Kobe stayed in Umweze. They built a house of stone, not of leaning wood, and they never forgot the market gate. Every day, a pot of food sat outside their door, not for the rich, not for the powerful, but for those who held broken calabashes. The fire is dying now, my children. You see, the heart is like a seed. If you bury it in the hard, dry ground of pride, it will rot. But if you bury it in the soft, humble dust of kindness, repetition, children, it will grow. It will bloom. It will feed a village. Go to sleep now.